A little bit closer. There we go. Welcome to the tree hive in the sky. Look, we're already getting a purr by with Dharma, the Reiki Master Kitty, and I am your happiness navigator, pollinator of positivity, shape-shifting woman wizard. That's me, Melissa Mojo Bee. It's a rainy night here in Toronto City, and it's a Thirsty for Knowledge Thursday, so we thought, why not get into the moon phases, specifically the new moon. We actually did a little new moon tunes talk and tarot on Tuesday. I guess we were ahead of the game because the new moon in Aries is actually not until tomorrow. And whenever you find this broadcast spell, all broadcast spells with me are charged with Reiki and cosmic rainbow energy to activate, transmute, and evolve. And of course, my personal heartfelt intentions for peace, protection, and prosperity. And as we come together, we shine a little brighter those lovely intentions. And so, the same goes with time being sort of not as linear as we think. And that energy is evergreen, as we like to call it, timeless, like Dharma's antics. Dharma, do you mind? There's a candle right there. Don't you love it when you have a candle and the animals really just want to test their limits? We also have a special thing we can do tonight, which is open up a new deck. I haven't had a new deck in so long. And this pink oracle deck just called to me. Let's get rid of that bar. Well, we're going to open it up together, so maybe we'll do that right away. Dharma's just knocking things down. We're just going to kind of tuck everything back away over here and get into an opening because I don't like this sticker. So I figure, look, it does have, minus ignoring the sticker, it has this very lovely little gold band. So I guess we'll find where that starts, like about here, and then we'll do it together. And then we'll read what it says on the deck. Oh, Dharma. Dharma would love to eat up the plastic. She loves to nibble on plastic. Do your animals like to nibble on plastic? And does anyone know why they would want to? She'll wake me up in the middle of the night sometimes. She found some plastic somewhere and she's crinkling it. And I'm like, no. She's actually eating a little bit of it. This cat. Dharma, the Reiki Master Cat. And I'm your happiness navigator. Welcome into the tree hive in the sky. And we're just about to, well, we just opened this deck. I'll have to hide that plastic from Dharma. And we're gonna, it says, this original oracle deck presents a unique pink-themed interpretation of divination, creatively merging the practical symbolism of Lemornand and the profound archetypes of the tarot by, I'm not going to pronounce it. It has, what do you think? It's backwards too, so even more difficult. Hello, everyone. Let's see. I don't know. These cards called to me. I haven't got a new... Well, hello, Jen. Let's make sure Dharma's in the shot. We'll just bring us down a little bit more central here since she's perched on the lap. There you go, Dharma. Dharma's got to get in the action. But look at this deck. You know, Jen, I haven't got a deck in a very long time. But I've been making some cards for a deck painting, and I thought it might be time for a little inspiration. So these called out. Look at how cosmic rainbow they are. That's why. They seem perfect for, and look at this. Oh my, I've not had a deck like that. Hello, sparkles. So this deck was definitely made for me because one of the things we say often is sparkle, sparkle, because there's one of the things we can do, right, Dharma? When life is difficult and when we can't feel like we feel like we can't do anything. It started, the first time I ever did really kind of a sparkle, sparkle thing was after I first got attuned to Reiki. And I was in a waiting room in the hospital, right? And I was thinking, oh goodness, All of these people here could use Reiki. Not only the people who are sick, but the people who are waiting for them, you know? It's just always like anyone, and the people working there. Goodness me, everyone there could use some Reiki, I was thinking. And so I remember putting the Reiki symbols up in the sky. It's called the Pink Oracle deck. Pink Oracle deck. Where Lamormand meets tarot. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Lamormand. Lamormand. For some reason, it always wants to say Lamormand. Lamormand. Okay. It does not have a book, I don't think. This is where your intuitive skills get excellent. Oh, thank you so much. Much respect to you. We have a new sub, a new member of the community, a new fellow wizard. Ooh, look at these cards. Oh, hello, Mount George. Hello, Dre. Hello, Jen. Look at these cards. Okay, so now, now that we've seen their pink, sparkly, gilded edges, so exciting. So when you subscribe here at Mojo and Magic community and channel, make sure you go check out the playlists. There's some really cool playlists for like sleepy time stuff, and there is lots of videos from times gone by that are still awesome, and the messages are evergreen, as we said, timeless, and fun little shorts. We do arts and crafts, we do tunes, talk, and tarot. I am your multi-passionate magic maker, here to remind us just to have a little bit more joy and sparkle and magic every single day. So look at this one. Oh, it's nice. It says a little bit on the card. I do like it when they do that. Harmony. Look at how cute. Yes, and also I've been coming in live streaming almost every day. So I did 33 live streams in a row, March 1st all the way through, and then at Easter I took 3 days off, had a little bit of a rebirth, and then since then I took 1 day off just because I was quite tired and I needed a rest. So this harmony card says balance and harmony, the harmonious working together of different parts, tasks, or people. And Reiki, or the chakra system, I don't know how much you know about that, but we love to talk about that. Also, every chakra has a color, and every chakra has a note. So every time we're singing or playing music, we are playing the music of our bodies as much as we are our hearts and souls, right? So there is an actual stimulation of these chakra points as we're playing and singing the notes in harmony. So that's a nice card that we just got. I like the cute little, the little fairy-like beings and the house and the sparkles. And again, those like the gilded edges on this deck are like nothing I've ever seen. I so approve. I so approve. Okay, let's find a few more. This is an interesting deck. I like it already. I really like how cosmic rainbow the front is, don't you? This one. Oh, poverty. Yes. Okay, so it's a new moon. This is a perfect time to fill up those pocketbooks. And we're going to be talking about that here with the Moonology book and how to manifest at the new moon, because a lot of people talk about doing that during full moon, but actually the best time to plant seeds is new moon. So we're going to deep dive that. Look, I got some bookmarks. Anyways, and so we're going to get out of that poverty mindset. In fact, we've let go already, because at the full moon, and if you haven't yet, just let go of anything that you're feeling a grudge about, heavy about, burnt about. We actually did a release spell on the channel, so you can go back and look for that if you'd like. I think it's on the main page. We did a short as well. But yes, it was during a live, so make sure you hit the bell and set it to all so you can come back for the lives, because you just never know what information is going to pop out when. But we're talking about letting go of any bad feelings so that we can fill this sack up. So we don't want to be feeling like, hey, everyone's been out to get me, or that life has always been hard for me and I just always have have it difficult, you know, and a lot of people are just givers. A lot of people, especially if you find this channel, probably somebody who has maybe overgive potentialities. And so now we're looking into filling up our own wallet. So this is a time to reset and start getting into filling up this wallet. And Aries, also being the new zodiac, the baby of the zodiac, is like, bring it on. It's the fool in the tarot. It would be also the new, right? The new traveler out to be like, let's go from poverty to filling up our satchels and actually building a community, building foot first here and then outward, right? Dharma says, yes, make sure that you take care of you first. And while we're talking about that, we'll have a little sip of water and a cheers. And I'll remind us that since we're mostly made of water and water is with the moon, that's why we work a little magic with the moon and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And with our water, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And see what happens. Our water changes just like it does when we say those words to ourselves and to others. Hi. Hello, lovely Rose. Oh, and then just be grateful. Be grateful. Feel it. Be joyful about it. Joy is even almost one step up from grateful. Grateful is joyful in its own way, but sometimes grateful can be with a little bit of like, oh, I should be grateful. But let's not do it that way. Let's do it with the way of like, grateful. I'm so grateful for this water. I'm so grateful for a comfy bed. I'm so grateful for feather pillows. Are you for feather pillows? Okay, so many things going on. This new deck I'm excited about with the sparkly edges. Look it. Ooh. I haven't got a new deck in it's been like a couple years. So this is a special occasion right here. Okay, what does the poverty card actually say? Now that we've done the intuitive part and said, now this is the new moon, it's setting intentions and actions to follow that will increase our satchels and our buildings. So coming from the state of having very little money, resources, or possessions, and feeling emotional or material deprivation. Exactly. So that's what we do at the full moon. We let go, and we do that again and again. And it's a beautiful thing that we get to be doing that on such a ritual basis, right? Because as we do it month by month, we, just like anything, we get practiced at it. It becomes a practice. It becomes something that we're better and better at. So this month in particular, boy, oh boy, did I release a bunch of stuff around the full moon. It was just the time for me to let go of any burns. I actually got burned twice in the last month. My fingertips were badly burned. It was a miraculous recovery. And I also burned my hand here. So I was thinking, you know, there's got to be something inside that's been feeling burnt. So, and there is, right? We all have reasons to feel burnt in this human experience and to feel, what's this one here? Loneliness. But I was saying to someone recently, I mean, if we really get existential about it, are we really ever alone? We're not, right? I mean, are we ever, we say a lot, I miss this, I miss that, but that actually means we're missing something. And if I can only check myself before I wreck myself, I can say, I'm truly not missing anything. And I've lost a lot of things. Dharma had a beautiful sister named Divine, and Divine's not here in the physicality anymore. And Dharma is a wonderful cat. She is different than Divine. Divine was my soft, cuddly little, you know, just really mushy Divine, and Dharma's just got a little kick to her, you know. And so sometimes we could say I miss it, but the thing is, Dharma's always with us, and really in this moment in time it can't be any other way. So it must be perfect, aka it must be whole, so we can just love up our whole experience and understand why we feel that way. And we can say, I miss you, and that's okay. And we can say, I'm lonely, that's okay. But we don't want to revel in that because it's not the best feeling, right? So if we put ourselves in that seat and we look around at what's with us there, the tree is with us, so we're not alone there. The moon's with us, right? The earth is with us, the air is with us. The fire of that big sun that even keeps us warm when it's dark outside here on magical planet Earth. So, rubies. Oh, yes, right? Aren't they ruby slipper cards? They really are a rose. Yes, Wizard of Oz. In fact, magenta. Magenta has been the color that has been conversated about a lot lately. So it says this loneliness card. And again, this is what we're coming out of, this season of loneliness. So would be the new year for the zodiac, the new year for the horoscope, the baby new year is Aries, the ram. It's coming through with a lot of force, and it feels a little like I am. What am I? Am I lonely? Am I bitter? Or can we drop all that so that we can start to fill up with other good stuff? Because one time I remember hearing, and I'm pretty sure that this is somewhat fact, that the average person can keep about 7 things in their mind at one time, in their consciousness, like in their front consciousness. And I thought about it at the time. I thought, if we can only think 7 thoughts, I guess we really want to be choosy about what our thoughts are, right? And that's the happiness navigator. It's not saying that we don't feel lonely. I love a man who's in Scotland and I haven't seen him for 6 months. And so I could be super lonely, or I can love this whole thing and just be like, well, that's where it's at right now. And I can just be curious in the infinite potentiality of when and where we meet again, or where the world is supposed to take me, and not dive into the loneliness, but dive into the infinite expansion that is available to me if I look at it that way, if we look at it that way. Lovely. So it's talking about coming from this deep sense of isolation, emotional emptiness, disconnection from others, even when surrounded by people. Sometimes the people we're surrounded by just don't fill that same deep connection, you know? And it's not like they're lacking anything. It's just that certain people feel like home, as Rose just said. So, a longing for meaningful connection and understanding. And I think so many of us are feeling that feeling. And that's why it's beautiful when we come into a room like this, into the tree hive in the sky, or wherever we are flying by, and we come together for that moment and we burn a little brighter, because when those two flames unite, what happens? We become family, even if it's just for a moment. These really are lovely cards. I love the pastel, cosmic, vibrant colors, high contrast. But look at all the sparkles. And that wall of pictures, right? It's making me think about creating too. So it's talking about connection, unconditional love. So we're coming from this feeling of loneliness into the expanded view of the fact that we are completely connected. We have unconditional love. We are supported. We have that shared history. Again, if anything has touched our life, if it's a memory, if it's in our heart, and it really is. Sometimes even clothes can be a part of us, right? Well, remember, I lost a poncho on my trip to Scotland, and we don't know where it went. I must have had to stay with the fairies to make a bunch of little blankets or something. But anyways, you remember that. It's part of you, so you can't really lose it. And it's talking about longing. Oh, wait a second now. I showed you the next one upside down. Did you see it? That was a sneak peek. Thought I was showing you this one. Yeah, when we're focusing on that shared history, when we're looking at it, like, we can sit down with that person, even if they're not here anymore. We can sit down on this bench with them and have a chat. We truly can do that, because we can bring anything that has been part of our experience into the fold again in that shared history. And we can feel that sense of belonging that's also like us being part of the tree, that's being part of the mountains, that's being part of the earth, that's all the way to the center of the sun. We can feel the protection, emotional bonds formed through blood and chosen family. Yeah. So that's that family card. And guess what else came out? The moon. This one is the full moon, obviously. But right now we're about to deep dive the new moon from the Moonology book by Yasmin Boland. So this one here is talking about mystery, intuition, illusions, hidden truths, dreams, emotional cycles, and the subconscious mind. They got all of that exactly correct. So when we talk about our star sign or sun sign, that's for me, Gemini. What's your sun sign? Put it in the comments. Sun sign is your external personality, sort of how we shine forward, like the solar plexus, the sun, that yellow part of us that goes out and that we show to the world. Now, the other side of that, which is less talked about, just like so much of the shadow side of things has been vilified, uh, we don't talk about the moon sign, but everyone has a moon sign just like they have a sun sign. And that is more of their mystery, their dreams, their emotional cycles, their subconscious mind, their shadow side. So if you don't know what your moon sign is yet, you can go to astro.com and check it out for free. They give you your star chart and you can look in there and see exactly where everything is, where your moon is, and where your rising sign or your ascendant is. And this gets a little deep divey on that, so we're not probably going to go too far into it, although I'm thinking about doing a bit more. It's really interesting, so we'll see how far we get into this tonight before time just flies by. And the moon, we'll leave it at that with these lovely pink oracle cards that they just found me the other day. They said, come to the hive. We want to come to the hive. And I really do. I love the art. I'm such a klutz. It's because it wanted me to pick at least one more. It's like, that was too short. You're supposed to be showing the deck. Okay, all right. I see you. It's quest. We've had adventure quite a bit lately as well. What else? Freedom. What else? The mixer. Oh, interesting. I like this. We got an extra 3 cards. We went from 3 to 6, just like that. Bam. Quest. This deck is so my style. If you know me, you know that this is just very much my style. This is Spirit Speaks Indeed. Lovely Rose. Sun, Sagittarius, Moon, Aries. Yes, yes. Fire, fire. Yeah, lots of fire. The Aries is fire. Aries is the baby of fire. So this is the specific or unclear state of search, an effort to reach a goal, the quest. So I think a lot of people, when we're talking about that loneliness and coming into the feeling of family with the moon, there's been this underworld feeling of I'm alone, I'm doing it alone, and that's a really big existential conundrum, kind of, when we realize that we are the ocean, we are infinite spirit, but we are also a drop that's experiencing itself through up into a cloud and falling into the river and dealing with the rapids and the unclear states of the search. And is that search just to reach back home when we're always home? We're always looking, but we always already are there, right? So this quest, it's like that golden path there too. I really love that. So instead of feeling a yearning, just feel a learning and enjoy the learning curves. That's the message there. That's a good one. Awesome. Okay, and then the next one was freedom. Letting ourselves out from that cage, that caged mind, really, right? That caged mind of feeling like we're alone, we're in the shadows, we're missing stuff. when we realize that we're on the journey and the joy is in the journey, that we came here to experience this golden path. And this freedom we're finding is in that independence, is in the ability to move solo and be unafraid. So this freedom card here talking about independence, the ability to move without restrictions, liberation from obstacles. And if you see that, it is a clear path. It's a clear path. It's lit not only by her lantern, but by spirit itself, you see. Yeah, the path. That's so lovely. Okay, and let's get this mixer card. This is an unusual card. I love it because I love to bake and cook and stuff. Hello. Hello, Lou. The mixer in the magical wizard's kitchen. Rose is saying, think a lot of the world is on the quest into freedom, into sovereignty, and unconditional love. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. The coming together of differences, chaos, confusion, and complex situations. Yeah. Just what you were saying, Rose. A lot of the world is on that quest, right? And as we go through that quest, it means that everyone's going into forgiveness. Everyone's going into radical acceptance. Everyone's going into a different level of love, which means loving the chaos too, loving the shadow side too, loving the moon as much as we love the sun, right? What would we do again without the shade? What if it was always sun, you know? So this is a world that's starting to become more balanced, and it's loving the moon side. That's also the feminine, that's the chaos, that's also the creation, right? In the womb, in the darkness, where we plant seeds. So let's get into that with this Moonology book we brought into the tree hive. We're in the sacred fun room in the tree hive in the sky at the moment. I'll remind us all to drink our water again and put some Reiki in there and love by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you. Community consciousness, cheers to that, Rose. I'm a thirsty girly tonight. Okay. Where are we? We're just going to get right into it at the very beginning of what is part 2 in this book, and that is creating your dream life with the new moon. So let's get at it. Working with the moon when we're manifesting is a key to its success. While in theory we can manifest our dreams anytime, anywhere with the right intentions and commitment, doing our manifesting work in tune with the moon supercharges our dreams. New moon manifesting. Now we come to one of the most exciting parts of the book. Aren't you glad I just brought you in at the most exciting part of the book? You're about to learn how to do a very powerful practice. It's all exciting. We talked about forgiveness earlier, that was a huge part of this past full moon, and it may be a part just now because the new moon hasn't quite started. So if you haven't dropped any of those heavy things, that baggage, it is time to just let it go one more time. Let it drain away. Next time you wash your hands, rituals can be that simple. Just wash your hands, do it really lovely, feel the bubbles, feel all that coming away. These hands are portals of energy, and they've been with us through this whole process. So we can just let it all slide off and out through our hands and just envision it going down into the drain, and again, sparkling the world. Just like, some things are fertilizer. They're meant to be transmuted and altered into something that's wonderful. So let it go, let it flow, so we can let it grow. Essentially, new moon manifesting reminds us to get clear on our dreams and goals once a month and write them down or draw them. I like to call this practice making my new moon wishes. I like calling it intentions, right? So this person talks about that right here. Some people find the idea of making wishes a bit wishy-washy and prefer to say they are setting intentions, which does sound more adult and businesslike. So, the great part about being an open-minded wizard is being willing to take into account what someone's saying right here. So she is saying then, personally, I see wishes and intentions as quite different things, but actually go together well. I like to make wishes and set my intentions for the month ahead. I also like the idea of making a new moon commitment. The labels you give to your new moon manifesting aren't really important. It's up to you, right? All rituals are best made with what feels best, with what feels great for us. The main thing is that you feel good about them and that we do them. As I said, though, I prefer the idea of making wishes, so that's mainly what I'll call them in this chapter. Okay, we'll call them wishes. The secret to making wishes or setting intentions is to ensure that they come from the heart and that you feel them as if they've already happened. You see, this is key. Read that again. The secret to making wishes or setting intentions to ensure that they come from the heart and that you feel them as if they've already happened. This is something that many people don't understand. We can repeat affirmations and make vision boards, but if we don't wish from the heart and feel as if we've already received what we're wishing for, we're wasting our time. It's crucial that we really get this straight off the mark. Other keys to successful wishing are to fake it till you make it. In other words, pretend to yourself that your dreams have already come true. As some like to call it, just be a little delulu. Feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Revel in that feeling. All right, it says, here's a great one. I talk about this all the time. Think about what you do want. Don't think about what you don't want. Woo, that's tricky. This is a golden rule. Just do it. Do that as much as possible every divine day. Write down or draw what you do want. Forget about what you don't want. That's that letting go part. So we talked about if we're focusing on the burn, if we're still feeling burned, how can we possibly look to the next thing, right? So we can't be focusing on what's not if we can't be looking in the rearview mirror. In other words, if we want to be driving forward. We humans aren't always aware of how powerful we are, but once we start to connect with the moon and work with lunar cycles, our power becomes mind-blowingly obvious. Perhaps the most important thing to remember about making new moon wishes is that you can't get what you want until you know what you want. This is key too. I feel like a lot of people get inflamed in their minds and in their bodies because they aren't quite sure what they want. So that's, again, letting go of that poverty mindset and that feeling of like, everyone's been out to get me. My life's been hard, because if that's what we're saying, that's what we're going to be getting. That's just because that's kind of saying that's what we want. That's kind of saying, right? We're not saying what we do want. We're looking at, again, in the rearview mirror at what we don't want. That's just no. So we got to know what we want and then focus. Because, it's not hocus pocus. It's focus. That's my little thing. So focus on what you do want and know what you want. And that this is part of this is getting really clear about what we want. It says right here. When we're really clear about what we want, it makes it much easier for us to make it happen with the conspiring help of the universe. In fact, when we're doing wishes and set intentions at the new moon, we're getting really, really clear on what we want. That is what we're doing. In the same way that a shopping list helps us to shop, writing a wish list of what we want helps us to manifest. So there's a little part here that says, well, what if I don't know what I want? Some people I talk to, I say, let's do more of what makes us happy every day. And some people say, I don't know what makes me happy. And so then we want to explore that, because it's really important that we all have sacred playtime. That's why when I named this particular room, I was going to call it the Sacred Room, but it seemed a little too serious. So I called it the Sacred Fun Room instead. And that's where we are. So what if we don't know what we want? This is a really hard one, and the answer lies in going within. Ask the universe, God, Goddess, your higher self, archangels, guides, ancestors, whoever you feel can help you, the trees, the fairies, for guidance so that you get clarity. And ask yourself, What do I want? Ask this repeatedly as you go about your day. This is a perfect time because we're still going into that new moon tomorrow, and then we still have about 3 days after that. A day and a half or so, it's at its peak, but about 3 days on either side. So start thinking about this and start imagining it and start saying, this is what I want, right? So the answer will come if you persist. Pay attention to the messages, thoughts, and ideas that filter through. Or if you don't feel like you can do it alone, ask for a new spiritual teacher to come to your life, or buzz on in with your happiness navigator, because I certainly love, that's one of my greatest joys, is to dive in with people and help create a happiness navigation toolkit with some simple things. We did it yesterday with a wizarding walk in the woods, and you can go back and see that live when I got caught in the rain and I had my paints out and a hacky sack and bubbles and a whole thing. And so, yeah, feel free to buzz with me if you want to find out a little bit more of what sparkles you up. New moon wishing, the golden rules. All right. Before Yasmin Boland, when I'm saying I here, I'm speaking for her, Yasmin Boland. Before I show you how to make your new moon wishes, I'd like to share the golden rules that I've developed around the process over the years. These work well for me and for the thousands of people I've taught. I can't say categorically that if you don't adhere to the following do's and don'ts, your wishes won't work, but as you'll see, the overall idea is to wish for good things for yourself and other people. Okay, that makes sense. My nose gets so itchy when we're in the middle of some messages sometimes. It's like there's a feather. My water's empty. There's like a drop left. I probably might have to refill it. We'll see how much I read. Oh, thirsty. Okay. Do wish for anything you want. You can wish for anything you want as long as you believe you can have it. It can be yours. Do take baby steps. Your wishes can be as wild as you like. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. But in that case, I find that it helps to take baby steps towards them. For example, during my new moon wishing and intention setting workshops, I invite participants to share their wishes with the group, and occasionally someone who doesn't have a job will write, "I wish to own a house," or "I wish to win the lottery." Let's find out what they say about that. Now, in the first example, my advice to the participant would first wish to find a job so you can earn the money to buy a house. And in the second example, I'd say, well, you can wish to win the lottery, but I believe that in the back of your mind, you doubt that will happen, as you know the odds are totally stacked against you. So to put it another way, your odds of finding a job are much, much better. Having said that, you could always wish to find a job and to win the lottery. See, it does need to be achievable, right? It's like I'm just going to turn the notifications off there. Ding-ling. Yeah, so it's like, I think that's why a lot of people are like, I'm going to manifest to win the lottery, and it's a much harder ask. Now, that being said, like it says, you could, but there's a lot more room for, for doubt. And so we talk about faith the size of a mustard seed moves mountains, but doubt the size of a mustard seed could also stop the mountain from moving. Something that we came up with. So let's just keep reading. Let's look at a similar material wish. Imagine that it's your dream to own a brand new Mercedes, but right now you have little cash available. It's hard to go from being broke, I don't like that word, I wouldn't use it, from not having enough money to own a Mercedes in one leap. Not impossible, but pretty tricky. Remember, one of the secrets of new moon wishing is simply to believe that what you're wishing for or intending to do is possible and within your reach. So in this example, we can break down the wish into baby steps. So going from this amount in our bank account to owning a bicycle, to owning an inexpensive secondhand car, to owning a secondhand Mercedes, to owning a brand new Mercedes. Yes, I mean, I can agree. It's interesting to look at these things, right? And then have our own feelings about it, and we can talk about that. That's why I like these little discussions too. So, personally, I think you could totally go from not having enough money to owning a brand new Mercedes. And it can happen, it could really happen very quickly, but you would need to be doing something that was so valuable that someone might even gift you something like that, right? And so you can think that, but this whole point is, I think the whole point of this section of the book is to say, let's not just put fanciful wishes out there without them being backed up with action steps, right? Action, aligned action, along with positive thinking and magical manifestation. We want to be on the middle path, which is not too spiritual and not too materialistic. It's in the middle. It's in the middle. That's that magical part of the tree of life. Hello, Colleen. How are you, sweet pea? So, her point is, that's Yasmin, achieving this particular dream will take time and quite a few new moons. There are practical things to be done on the journey, from having an empty bank account to owning a brand new Mercedes, if you're, saving up and getting one on your own. You can't just leapfrog them. So, to make it really clear, when we make wishes, we're manifesting, and that's magic. But unless we're incredibly gifted, see, there's that addendum there, we cannot simply override the laws of physics, and we're also limited by what we believe is possible. That's that doubt. So, just like check the doubt. If there is doubt, that's okay. Even in ourselves, like, there can be doubt about our, say, artistic skills. Like, maybe one of the manifestations is I just want to paint. I want to paint something daily this month. Like, that's something I'm playing with right now. But I don't want to be thinking all of a sudden I'm going to be like a star artist, although we don't exactly know what's possible. But if I doubt that a little bit, like doubt the say if I was like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to be amazing at it, there would be a doubt there. But if I just say to myself, my intention or my wish is that I continue on with this playing with colors every day and having fun with painting, and come out of that with a bunch of tarot cards shortly, I believe that's possible. Just to have fun with it, and they can just be for me and we. And it's just fun in the doing, again, the joy in the journey. So, as we start to manifest by new moon wishing, you may attract close but no cigar demonstrations, which shouldn't be ignored. Let's say that having wished to get closer to owning a shiny new Mercedes, the next day a brochure from Mercedes drops through your letterbox. Yes, it's a sign. It means you're getting closer to your dream. Or a friend asks you to mind their Mercedes while they're on a holiday. See, I'd say that you pretty much manifested it there. There's ways that the universe can give you what you want. You're getting closer still. Patience and faith are certainly required on this journey. It says, do wish for a feeling. So it says, but should we be wishing for a Mercedes or other material objects in the first place? It could be argued that wishing for stuff, be it a car, a house in the country, or anything else along those lines, is a diluted, greedy waste of your manifestation powers. Any super rich person will tell you that owning things doesn't bring happiness. Sure, you might rejoice in your fantastic new 50-inch flat screen TV for a few days, but after that, it will more than likely become literally just part of the furniture. So, in the long term, material possessions don't make us happy, right or wrong. Perhaps you're a stay-at-home person and nothing brings you greater joy than sitting with your cat or your beloved and your kids on the sofa on a Friday night and watching a movie on TV. In that case, is it okay to wish for a big screen on which to watch it? I believe that as long as you realize that owning stuff isn't what makes us happy, you can wish for whatever you want and just ignore the naysayers. However, having said that, there's also truth in the idea that when we wish for, say, a big TV, what we're really wishing for is the feeling we get when we watch it. Perfect. So what we want to focus on, focus, is the feeling. For some of us, that could be the feeling that all the hard work we put in to earn the cash to buy the TV was worthwhile, or it could be the lovely feeling of happy times with the family that we're seeking. Generally speaking, it's going to be that feeling of wholeness that we were talking about. And So that's something that we can look at, right? The feeling of feeling like we have everything, and that's how we start to manifest. Because if we already feel like we already have everything, then that's the feeling we're looking for, and that's the feeling that gets provided. There's a guy on Facebook and probably other social media, and he's just so cute, and he just goes out into nature and stuff, and he's like, look what's provided, and it just lights me up for some reason. And it's just really reminded me too much how much is provided by nature, how much color. Again, there is prismatic perfection in the world, and oh, what an experience. So, if you already know that what you want to feel is more positive about yourself, for example, again, confidence, there we go, or to have an increased sense of self worth, or to enjoy happier times at home with your family, then wish for that feeling rather than a thing. So, wish for the confidence or wish for the satisfaction. You can even do a bit of self analysis as you look over your monthly new moon wishes. What was your motivation for desiring something? Was it a feeling you were chasing or a gap you were trying to fill? That gap. That's a big message in this one. Ideally, we could let our wishes be extensions of our own joie de vivre. In other words, add ons that will make us feel happier, not feeling like if I only had this, because again, that reverts us back into that lack, into that poverty, looking into the empty container instead of looking into the distance about what is incoming. Yes, add ons that make us feel happier. That's beautiful. So, to sum it up, is it really okay to wish for a huge, luxuriously appointed house in which to entertain family and friends? Yes, absolutely. Provided that's what you really want, and as long as you're wishing for it because you love the thought of it, because it will make you happy, and because you believe it can happen, because we are saying that that's a big part of it. If your motivation for wishing for that big house stems from envy, from wanting what someone else has, that's not so good. For one thing, envy is unhealthy, so we can work on that. For another, envy blocks gratitude, right? So, gratitude is a beautiful emotion. We can call it energy in motion, because gratitude actually eclipses other emotions. So, the beautiful thing about a happiness navigator is, again, we don't look at the dark as a bad thing, and we don't look at any color as a bad thing. What we do is we really focus on the emotion or the color, the spectrum that is going to make us feel a little bit better. And we also love the ones that make us cry and make us angry, because eventually they also help us feel the other side of the spectrum. So love can make us feel grief, and there is love in grief. And so if we can be grateful about the love, it eases the grief. You see how the gratitude works like that. So if we can feel loss, like I miss that person, they're gone, but then we find gratitude for the fact that they were there, they're part of our story, we can never lose them. It just transmutes it. It just transmutes it and evolves. So you know and then again, feeling the joy in that, starting to feel the joy, and that's my story, and I have it all right here right now in this moment. Yeah, the most important thing when you're wishing for anything is to be grateful for what you already have. Bingo. Okay, don't wish for a specific person. Yes. Is saying, is it okay to wish for someone else's partner? Short answer, no. Can you wish for someone who is available? Yes, you can certainly ask for them to notice you, but at the end of the day, you must remember that we all have free will. So you can't just new moon wish someone into your life. They have to want to be there. Love spells and such that would go against the person's wills would be one of the reasons why I might choose wizardry, because I like that wizards tend to, although there's all different kinds of wizards, just like there's all different kinds of wishes. I wouldn't throw a love spell ever, because of just that fact. It's free will. I wouldn't want to manipulate anyone's feelings. So I feel like that's a natural law situation. So I wouldn't cast a love spell. again, so you can want reciprocal affection, but I wouldn't put like new moon spells on someone who isn't already showing interest, for example. And even then, spell casting, just, this is about you, it's not about someone else, really, right? It's about you and your feelings, our feelings. One possible scenario, if you put enough energy into it, would be for you to manifest bumping into a particular person and then hold the intention to ask them out and then carry that out as well. Exactly. So it's in your wheelhouse at that point. You're actioning your own intention. Saying, what about wishing to hook up with a celebrity or something? Yes, you can do this provided you really believe it's possible and provided there's just 1 degree of separation between you and them. Do you know what that means? 1 degree of separation. Otherwise, it's more than a likely waste of time. Yeah, so, and a waste of a good new moon wish. One degree of separation means if somebody knows them. So I guess if they're already almost in your circle, you could wish to run into them and ask them out. Don't wish for someone to change. Yes. Sadly, perhaps new moon wishes can't magically transform a toad or toadette into a prince or princess charming. It's really important that we understand this before we start on our manifesting quest. You can't turn a quintessential charming bad boy into a Boy Scout angel unless he wants to turn into a Boy Scout angel. Same applies to bad or dangerous girls. I don't believe in that, but you know what I mean? Not a match. And if people aren't an energetic match, we can't change where they're at right now. And we also kind of don't want to be living in the future. So either we're sort of accepting and transmuting certain things within that relationship, and both people are working on it, or it's not gonna happen, because new moon manifesting can't interfere with someone else's free will. Just to make sure. Hello, Lou. Hello, how are you? All this applies triple if you're in an abusive relationship. Rather than wishing a partner to change, wish instead for the courage to leave, right? The bottom line is you can't change people. They have to want to change themselves. It's a cliche that we so often ignore. These are some hard truths in this Moonology book, aren't they? But you got to know the truth in order to bring in the fresh and new. You got to clear the old remnants out of the garden in order to make that soil fresh and amend it and come back with a brand new garden. So do believe that you're worthy of your wishes. Absolutely. One important question to ask yourself on a regular basis as you start to make your monthly new moon wishes is, do I think I'm worthy of what I'm wishing for? It's a sad fact that many of us grew up with parents who were not as supportive as they might have been, and as adults, we now wonder whether we're entitled to anything. Sometimes our parents also did not think that they were capable, so that they put that on us, or they also were trapped in poverty mindset where they were like, I'm never getting ahead of this, you know what I mean? I got myself into it now and that's it, I'm stuck here at this level. And that's no one's fault, it's just the way it is right now. But we don't need to be in that anymore. It's time to realize we're worthy. We're all worthy just for being here, just for choosing the magical, difficult planet Earth experience we all deserve. Ask yourself the following. Emotionally, do you believe that you deserve the great friendships and relationships that you're asking for in your wish lists? Financially, do you believe that money is bad? If you do, of course, you won't attract it to you. So these are things we want to work on. If we felt like money is sinful, if we feel like, a lot of actually people I know who are so wise spiritually but have read the Bible and somehow mistakenly feel like to me mistakenly, that's in my humble opinion, feel that they're not worthy, that they're just a sinner, that they'll never be worthy. That is something to just completely erase and let go of right now. So just a little moment of release of anything that's keeping us thinking that we are not able or meant for full pockets and full purses and full satchels full of goodness, treasures, and loved ones, community, all of that, because we so are. We're born for it. It's our birthright, and it could even be a responsibility. At least we can take responsibility and do our very best. And that's what we're doing when we do work with the law of intention and desire. When we align with the new moon to make our wishes, we're activating what New Age teacher Deepak Chopra calls the law of intention and desire, which states that the future is created in the present. There are lots of very clever people around who might try and argue against astrology, but even they would agree with Chopra's concept. Yeah, you see, the future is created in the present. That's why they talk about the power of now. There is no better moment than right now to accept that everything is perfect. And I know it's so hard when the world is the way it is, but I'm here just to remind us that this moment is prismatic perfection, that we have this water. I can go get some more, right? I'm so blessed that we have all these colors around us, that in this very moment nothing can be other than it is. And so therefore it is what it is, and we have no resentment for that. We just accept it, and we know that this is perfect now, and then there's the next perfect moment, and the next perfect moment, and the next perfect moment. And so we don't need to stress or strain or strive or feel that we're not worth it. We can just feel already so provided for. Okay? And it's talking about, well, I believe that the new moon is a really wonderful marker that comes like clockwork once a month to remind us that it's time to get back in alignment with our desires and intentions. Exactly. Isn't it wonderful that every month we have a new moon, and we can get into this? This is quite this is a long chapter. We're not getting into it all, I can tell you that. But we're going to get into a good bit of it, and we're getting there. There's so much. It's a deep dive, really. Working on good intentions. Yes, Rainbow will. We'll get into that. Okay, so do meditate. Yes. When you come to use my guide to making new moon wishes, we'll get to that. You'll see that meditation is the crucial final step in the process. I'd like to explain here, before you start to get into the zone, why meditation is so important. The reason is simple. When we make new moon wishes, we're manifesting, and being clear about what we want and expressing it effectively is so powerful. Think of yourself like a radio. When you make your wishes, they are like radio waves that emanate from you. Your wishes are your way of letting the universe, which is benevolent and on your side, know what you want. And when you meditate after making your wishes, the signal becomes even clearer, because meditation can decrease anxiety, make you happier, and even restructure your brain in a really positive way. If you want proof on this, read on. I feel like skipping that part. I think we can all agree that meditation is scientifically proven to help. And I'll say, it doesn't have to be this transcendental meditation where you completely empty your mind of thoughts and you're clear. In this world, it's practically impossible. You can go try something like binaural beats really help if you want to just clear the mind and not have a guided meditation, because I think ideally we would like to spend even 3 minutes just ruminating in the feeling of this feeling that we want to feel. So if that feeling is satisfied, if that feeling is confident, then we want to see ourselves being confident. We want to see ourselves walking into a room full of our paintings, or people waiting to see us play some music, even if it's just friends, or at work, and we want to feel confident. So we want to start feeling that and seeing it in the most use all the senses when you come to that. So this is like an imagination meditation that I'm talking about. And so it's not just so much about clearing our mind this time, and we may not want anyone else guided coming in, but there's some lovely binaural beats by Kelly Howell and Brain Sync free on YouTube that I highly recommend just as something that helps you kind of get into a trancy state if you feel like you're highly wound, like so many of us. Okay, so what does this have to do with the new moon wishing? Meditating. Well, the more relaxed and stress-free we are, the better able we are to manifest. It's not enough to just sit down and make your new moon wishes once a month and then go about leading a chaotic life, now is it? No. Perhaps we find this surprising, yet deep down on some level, we're here with this book because we knew we had to get this information. So yeah, like I said, there's been a few sort of tough love lessons in this book, and I appreciate that. So living a harmonious life, which was our first card, was harmony. One in which we coexist with others in as beautiful a fashion as possible. I love that, because being human means when we coexist with others, we do it in as beautiful a fashion as possible. It's perfect. It can feel uncomfortable, but we do it as perfectly as possible. It is really lovely. Yes, so when we do that, this living of a harmonious life is the way to bring in the lives we're dreaming of. We'll be amazed at the wonderful things that begin to happen once you start to check in with your divine self, because that's essentially what you're doing when you meditate. Your divine self is the part of you that's still connected to heaven, or that cosmic energy that we love. This rainbow sky. You may have read that we're multidimensional beings. That's because we're here in the third dimension, but we're still connected to our higher selves, which are in the higher dimensions. The more we connect with our divine self, or the higher self, the better, and the more able we are to manifest our desires in this physical world. With all that said, will your new moon wishes work if you don't meditate? Probably, but the process will likely feel less graceful. Also, meditation will help you work out what you really want rather than just making some flippant wish. So it has how to meditate in 10 easy steps. I feel like we're going to come back and maybe do that another time. And maybe I'll take a I'll take a picture of it and then I'll put it up in the community section of the channel so you can go look at it there. It says, do release attachment to your wishes. There's one last thing to be aware of before we begin to make our new moon wishes. While it's important to get clear on what we really want, paradoxically, you should not become too attached to your dreams, because guess what? The universe might have a better idea than the one we have in mind. Isn't it true? Have you ever noticed that sometimes in life you might desperately want X, but then Y happens, and unexpectedly Y is better than X, and everything turns out for the best? This is kind of always the way. That's what happens when the universe has a better idea. It's also why, once we've made our wishes, we release attachment to them by saying a phrase such as, for the good of all, or not at all, or as I like to say, this or greater, so mote it be. This tells the universe that this is what we want, but only if it's for the good of all. Okay. Pardon me. It's like time for water. I feel like, are we going to come back tomorrow and do this? There's still quite a bit left. Decisions. What do you think? Tomorrow? I think tomorrow. Let's do it. It's going to be a two-parter. We'll come back and we're going to leave it on the releasing attachment. So let's meditate on that. Let's clear our minds and start dreaming our world into being. What does it feel like to feel so confident, to feel so satisfied, to feel so provided for, to feel so secure, to feel so supported? Because I think it feels pretty awesome. And I'm feeling it right now. And I'm sending that feeling to you. It's a very overflowing cup kind of feeling that we are experiencing. And so let's meditate on that tonight. We'll increase the joy when you wake up, maybe even before you go to bed. Just stretch, okay? Do a little stretching in your bed. Switch those legs back and forth. Do whatever feels good. And then when you wake up tomorrow, do it again. and feel so thankful for that bed and those sheets and a pillow and not being in a cardboard box on the street somewhere. And be thankful for those people who are out there having that experience, because they are also part of this planet Earth experience and they need to be exactly where they are. Just like we wouldn't tell great creator that they made it too bright in the Milky Way and too dark in a black hole. We can all trust that we're exactly where we're meant to be, and then feel into how much better it can be. Just feel into it and dream it, and then say, this or better, so mote it be. And we'll come back with the rest of that reading tomorrow. And also a reminder, go get some water, have a little sip of water before bed, and maybe bring a glass to bed and start getting in the habit of having a little sip. When you wake up, if you're like me, you might wake up in the night, have a little sip of water. If you wake up in the morning and you stretch a little bit, have a sip of water and then stretch a little bit more. Feel that gratitude even more so. Feel the joy. And thank you so much. Working on good intentions, new moon, renewed focus on creating a peaceful life and using our senses to manifest sweet adventures and memories. Thank you all so much for your comments. I wish YouTube would save our live chats, but for some reason on this channel, they're disappearing, magical wizardry and stuff. So please do come back in, leave comments after the video goes up on the main page. Check out the live streams from the recent past and the video section and the playlist too. Great place to go maybe right after this and put on some relaxing soundtracks or a sleepy time story. Mwah. Good night, everybody. So much love.